up with Mello and Big Country, brought to you by Mid-America RV. Why work from home when your office could be in Yellowstone? 2022 will be the year to rediscover the outdoors. Mid-America RV is your gateway to adventure with their diverse selection of travel trailers, fifth wheels, teardrops, and toy haulers. They have the right size RV for any vehicle, all covered by their exclusive RV warranty forever. Game days, remote work getaways, and family vacations are all better in an RV from Mid-America RV. Experience travel like you never have before. Find out more at midamericarv.com. One hell of a Monday, one hell of a show that we have for you. I'm very excited, partly because of the big news in college football, and that's where we'll start. Usually our Monday episodes, we start with recapping the NFL weekend on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Not this time. I can't even wait to talk about this one. Lincoln Riley, the Oklahoma head coach, headed to USC to take on that responsibility. Yesterday was one of the best days of my life. I'm not even joking. Top 5 day for me all time.
He's gone. Like, he's already in LA. Like, that's the crazy part to me. Is like, okay, I knew that when the rumors kind of came out the other day of like, hey, he might be going to LSU.
There's a lot of talk on Saturday.
We know a kid who works for the LSU student newspaper. He'd pretty much felt comfortable enough saying, hey, like the discussion between LSU and Lincoln Riley is pretty much solidified. They're just, figuring out the rest of the contract. Well, then later that night, Lincoln Riley goes, I'm not going to LSU.
Yeah, does the post-game press conference.
That's it.
And a lot of people were speculating on Saturday, too, like if Oklahoma loses, the announcement will come. Mm-hmm. And Oklahoma loses to Oklahoma State in a fantastic football game.
That was a good game.
And then Lincoln Riley goes to do the post-game presser, and one of the local, I believe, media guys was asking him, it's like, have you been asked about any of the rumors? I feel like I have to ask you. And Lincoln Riley says, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not going to be the next head coach at LSU. Next question. That was genius on his part. That was, I know there's a big rumor, but you don't have the correct school. So I will not be the next head coach at LSU.
Could you imagine someone been like, what about USC? He'd be like,
yeah, let's talk about that on Monday,
Listen, hey, my focus right here is on the Oklahoma Sooners, all right?
And that's why
lost a tough game.
That's why he did such a great job, because he got out in front of it and was like, I'm not going to be the next head coach at LSU. He didn't say, I'm not leaving Oklahoma. Yep. I'll be here. He said, I'm not going to be the next head coach at LSU. And I mean, obviously, the report comes out Sunday morning that he's leaving for USC. He knew what he was doing. Yeah. That contract was probably already in the works. So he didn't lie, but he kind of withheld.
What was your response? Because I kind of wish I would have been with you when you read the official report of, like, Lincoln Riley's going to USC.
I was actually in the grocery store. So I just pretty much skipping through every aisle. Like, this is fucking fantastic. Very, very excited.
Did you let out like a loud clap, like, fuck yeah?
No, because I was in the middle of a Walmart.
I know that would make it good.
But yeah, I'm also so pessimistic that it was like, is this real? Like, is this really going to happen?
I'm dreaming.
Because you're right, like all the rumors were LSU. And for Lincoln Riley, man, like, I love this guy so much more. Like, that 24-hour swing of I hate him to he's so good. The fact that he had every Oklahoma fan's just expectations through the roof, had them all comfortable, confident, going to sleep on Saturday night, like, oh, he's not going to LSU. Did you wake up Sunday morning with that fucking knife in your back of, sorry, going to USC? I mean, he really just did one big stab in the back on his way out.
They are freaking out. Every single one of them on Twitter. Like, there's not one fan that's like, okay, hey, we'll be all right. It's because this has happened. Then it's like, what about Caleb Williams?
Right.
He lets out a tweet of like, hey, still haven't, like, this is still news to me. I'm happy for Coach. And he lists off the entire Riley family, which is incredible. Very mature of him to do so. But, like, back to Lincoln, though, real quick. The thing that caught me by the surprise the most is that he accepted this job and has already left Norman.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround.
He's gone. But I thought usually it was like if you accept a job, you at least do, like, one last game. Like, you would do the bowl game with your team.
Nope, don't need to. It is weird. We talked a little bit about this last week when all the rumors were, oh, he's going to LSU. And the Caleb Williams stuff as well of like, oh, did he talk to his quarterback? You're right about the tweet. I don't have it pulled up. I don't remember it. But it was like, hey, this is all new to me. I'm still figuring out what to do. Mm-hmm. And then finished off the tweet with like #boomer. So, like, he's still got a lot of decisions to make. This definitely wasn't like last week when people were like, he's leaving, he's going to LSU, and Caleb Williams is headed there with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case. But it is interesting that Bob Stoops was already there.
Yeah.
And Bob Stoops has been named the interim coach at Oklahoma. That's an interesting title, too, because it's not, hey, I'm going to coach the bowl game. He's the interim coach. So I wonder how long he's going to stay there. But it is weird that, like, out of all the people that knew what was going on, he was already there.
I think that goes to show how close of a relationship Lincoln Riley has with maybe Bob Stoops.
Yeah.
Because, like, when Bob Stoops stepped down from being the coach, Lincoln Riley was immediately was just like, boom, here he is. And that's the thing for Oklahoma is they've not had any turmoil like this in, 20-some years?
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people are talking about, is that people don't leave Oklahoma for another school. You might leave Oklahoma to go take an NFL job.
Mm-hmm.
You don't leave to just be like, bye, I'm going to USC. Like Mel Tucker, who signed an extension, he talks about, Michigan State, this is a destination job. Like, the only reason you leave that is if you get fired. Not so much for Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
He goes to USC. There's a lot of speculation about Caleb Williams and what will happen. You and I were talking a little bit about it yesterday, too. I don't believe that Caleb Williams is a good fit for USC and what they're doing. And part of that is because the quarterback that they already have on roster, Jackson Dart, who had a pretty good weekend. He was a top recruit as well, right there in USC. So I don't think that Caleb Williams is just like this shoe-in to like, hey, I'm going to go to USC. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know if Lincoln Riley would want him.
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, maybe Jackson Dart had a little bit to play into this because Jackson is going to be exactly who Lincoln wants at quarterback.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is very talented. Obviously, I've had to eat my words on him before, but he has struggled of late. He did not look good against Oklahoma State. He's very good running the ball. He's got a lot of work to do as a passer. I mean, this is like Jalen Hurts all over again.
Yep.
To where, he might burn you if he takes off, but I mean, his pocket awareness is very, very bad. I don't want to shit on a kid who's like 19 years old. He's obviously a very good player, very good athlete. He's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that it's as easy as like, oh my gosh, if he goes to USC, he's a Heisman contender. He played very well for a couple games this year. And then it was, I believe, Kansas that brought him back down to earth. It was like, oh, college football is actually kind of hard. So I don't know about that. I don't know that he will just automatically transfer to USC. He's from Washington, D.C. So, like, moving to Oklahoma, going with Lincoln Riley, that's probably one thing. Going to USC might be just too much of a move for him.
That's all the way across the country.
Yeah, so, I mean, and there are a lot of other good schools. It's not like USC and Oklahoma are the only two.
Yeah.
Georgia could use a quarterback after this year. They've been known to dig into the transfer portal as well. So, I mean, there's no telling.
For them.
Yeah, I mean, LSU, what are they going to do? Who are they going to land at quarterback? Ole Miss is another one, like just keeping with those SEC schools.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity for a kid like Caleb Williams. So maybe he does enter the transfer portal. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he stays. And, maybe if Bob Stoops is named the head coach, maybe he says, all right, I can get on board with that. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Caleb just ended up staying with Bob.
And Bob Stoops, I think he's going to be the head coach.
Yeah,
we talked about it last week too. Bob Stoops has been trying to kind of get back into coaching, but he's never wanted to take a different job at the college level because he is an OU guy. He built that program back up to what it is.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that he's kind of been – I think Saturday, Sunday was a very exciting day for him. It's like, oh, my gosh, it sucks for Lincoln Riley. But –
I'm back.
You're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
It's like you break up with a girl and then she gets pretty over summer and you're like, oh, shit. And then she breaks up with her boyfriend.
Slide right back in. Yeah.
So I do think that Bob Stoops probably takes over. He's on damage control at OU, though. There's, reports I read on The Athletic this morning that a lot of players are pissed off. They don't really know what they're going to do. They don't know who their coach is. They don't know when they're practicing. I do think that we're going to see a lot of players leave OU in the transfer portal. And one thing we're already seeing with Oklahoma is their recruits are leaving left and right.
Quickly.
I was writing about it on Sunday. Like, as soon as I got done grocery shopping, I started writing State of College Football. I usually wait till Sunday afternoon, Sunday night to do that. I got a jump start because I was excited. And I'm writing about how, like, this recruit from California, he's a 5-star quarterback. He could decommit. And then, boom, he did it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shit, well, I probably should have changed that. But they've lost so many players already that have decommitted from Oklahoma. So Bob Stoops going to have his hands full trying to, like, almost re-recruit those kids he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
And now Oklahoma has to dive into the coaching search with, like, blindly dive in. They didn't expect this. It's not like the athletic director was like, yeah, I kind of got my eye on this guy.
And it's crazy how USC was able to keep this so quiet, too, with Lincoln. Of like, hey, I mean, this was, I don't feel like
LSU
USC
couldn't keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, like USC wasn't like leaking anything at all. Like there was no rumors surrounding that university for Lincoln Riley until it happened. And like you said, LSU, we all knew about it a whole week in advance.
Yeah, at LSU, tough situation there as well. I heard this morning listening to Dan Patrick's show, he said that he had a source say Lincoln Riley turned down $12 million a year from LSU.
That's how much is USC paying him then?
I cannot wait to see the numbers on that.
It's
I hope
more
they
than
release
12,
it,
right?
Or comparable. He was making around, I think, 7 at Oklahoma.
Watch it be like 13.5, and he's like, double pay. See ya. See ya.
Yeah, you have no choice. Somebody doubles your pay, and you get to leave Oklahoma
like
to go to Southern
Norman
Cal.
of all places. Like watching his kids and wife get off the plane. Like I'm surprised there wasn't a slide for them to go down because they couldn't get off fast.
There was a lot of excitement to land in California. There really was. And a lot of people are saying that the move to the SEC had a lot to do with it. And I think a lot of bitter OU fans are saying, like, he was afraid of the SEC. We're all afraid of the SEC.
Yeah. And
As Texas fans, Oklahoma fans, we all know, like, that move, no one liked it.
Should it be called fear? Should it just be like, yeah, we're very understanding of what's going to happen in the SEC. You're not going to be able to win it every year.
Yeah, and like look at your path to a national championship. You can go to the SEC and you can get your school a lot of money. Okay, that's nice. But you're competing with Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Florida, Auburn, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Like there are so many good schools.
And like that's the thing is everyone just overlooks like an Ole Miss, an Auburn, a Texas A&M, here and there throughout the conference.
Yeah, it's not just Alabama.
Auburn almost beat Alabama this weekend. And that's the thing with this, like with the SEC is you can have a powerhouse like Alabama and then things just don't go their way one week and they lose. And then they almost lose against Auburn. And if you're Oklahoma and Texas, it's like we're fucking struggling against Oklahoma State. We're almost
and
losing
Baylor.
to Kansas. Or Texas Tech, TCU, Iowa State, which has been, is an upcoming program. We know that, which is Campbell's done a great job there. But like to take that to the next level of the SEC, that's going to take years. And if you're Lincoln Riley, I'm glad he got out of it now instead of having to spend 2 years in it, being like, I told you guys this was a bad decision. I'm leaving.
And when you look at the Pac-12, who do you have to compete with? Oregon.
And maybe
2-loss Oregon team.
Yeah, and maybe like a Utah here or there, or a school that's got like 20-some seniors on the team and has been building it for the last couple
And I
years.
saw Matt Leinart, former USC quarterback, tweeting about it. And I think he said that his first year there with Pete Carroll, they went like 6-6. The next year they went 11-1. And I mean, it just blew up from there. It's a fast turnaround.
Yeah.
And a lot of those commits that are decommitting from Oklahoma are 2023 commits. And so I do think that they're going to follow Lincoln Riley. And I really follow. He's following them. They're all in California.
Yeah.
There are like 5 of them right there in California.
And the fact that it's like there's a quarterback, there's a couple receivers, a running back. USC has been fine at getting some of those players throughout the last couple of years anyways. But if you're getting them in 5-star recruits with a head coach that can run an offense so smoothly, you got to look out for the Trojans in the next 5 years. No matter who's in the SEC.
And there's a lot of good talent already there at USC. And I mean, they've got really good receivers. You're probably going to lose a couple of them. But I also think like with the transfer portal, it might be an even quicker turnaround.
Yeah.
I know everybody's looking at Caleb Williams like, oh my gosh, he could follow him. Now, what about the other guys though? What about like a Marvin Mims who's at receiver and be like, all right, I'm gone here.
Yeah.
I came here to be with Lincoln Riley. And I think that's a lot of the players at Oklahoma. Oklahoma does recruit itself. But at the same time, I think a lot of those recruits are there because of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
And you can see it with the commits that they have. They're there because Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
No offense to the great folks in Norman, Oklahoma. You're not competing with Southern California at all. And so I do think that we're going to see a lot of players enter the transfer portal. And I think Lincoln Riley, if he does, and he should, he's going to be able to attack the transfer portal and say, hey, come here now, or follow me to USC. I don't know that it will be the quarterback, but, there are going to be some young players that do.
Do you think he does this year, or is it more of like he just tries to get his commits? I shouldn't even say commits, but the guys that he was recruiting to Oklahoma to USC?
Yeah, he'll get them to flip. A
Easily?
lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think so. Like I said, a lot of those guys are already in California.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the 5-star running back that's coming in this year. He's from California.
Yeah.
So he even tweeted out the eye emojis already, like staying home ? Eye emojis. Like, come on,
Yeah.
We all know it's going to happen.
It's kind of exciting to see USC then kind of put themselves back on the map.
I think it will be huge.
Now I just look around our office and see all this Texas stuff and wonder, like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah, they were a year too early. Maybe should have held on to old Crazy Eyes there for one more year.
Oh, and there's no way they get Lincoln, but like at the same time,
no. But there are a lot of other good coaches. On Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, I was very excited because I thought that like Billy Napier going to Florida would be the big hire that I was talking about, and then Lincoln Riley just sets the whole college football world upside down. Really does.
It's a total blaze right now. I mean, good God.
I think it is a wonderful hire for USC. I'm excited about the possibility of them being good again. I think that's one of those blue bloods that's just exciting anytime they are good. College football can survive without them, but when you have a powerhouse like that on the West Coast, it does make things very exciting.
It's like it makes football more fun. Like
Oregon's been close, but they haven't been.
I don't feel like people were going to be as excited about Oregon as we would USC. Like the media attention that's going to go to them.
Yeah, and there's so much going on this weekend in college football that I didn't even get to it because I didn't know if I should talk about it or not. But Mario Cristobal at Oregon is going home to visit his mom in Miami. There's a lot of speculation that he's going to be the next coach for the Miami Hurricanes. And it is maybe a little bit insensitive, but at the same time, I think if you have somebody in your family that you're close to, if it's at the end of their run, you kind of want to be close to them. I do think we could see a return home for Mario Cristobal. And if that happens, Oregon's a really good job as well. They should have some people very excited about it. But that really sets up USC very nicely.
No joke.
And then, in the ACC is down, so maybe he does do, like I said, a return home, be close to his mother, and build a program that he was already a part of.
So that's the question I want to ask you then, because with USC, we said it could be a quick, flip. You quickly get that going back on the right track. Could Miami, or is Miami possibly a school that's in the same situation where they could do that, or is it going to take years to do so? Since they haven't had the commitment from,
the athletic directors and the presidents. I think they could. And one thing with Miami that people should remember is all the name, image, likeness money that just flooded to their players.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to dry up. And I think when you do get into the transfer portal, if they do have a new coach, which I think they will eventually, I don't know what they're waiting for anymore. But if they have a new coach, you can go and you can look at it and say, hey, this quarterback was making like 6 figures last year. Maybe close to 7. Like he might have got close to $1 million. So I think you can recruit players that way. And we saw it in college basketball last year where everybody at the end of the season was like, I'm gone. I'm in the transfer portal. I'm going somewhere else. We didn't really see it in college football, but I think this year is going to be absolutely ridiculous in college football. I think we're going to see so many kids enter the portal. Maybe they stay, maybe they go, but I think they're going to enter and at least listen to other offers and be like, yeah, I'm kind of toying with going here. Some of these guys that are at smaller schools and want a bigger piece of the pie. Now there's, openings at Oklahoma. There's, USC. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Florida is another one who, like I said, they named a new coach over the weekend too. And Billy Napier is a great name. I really like him as a coach. He comes from Louisiana, but he also spent time at Clemson and Alabama under Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban. So I really think that he has a lot of potential to be very good. And if you're LSU, man, you missed out on 2 coaches in the same weekend.
Like, how? That's my question with LSU. How in the world have you messed this up?
I don't know if they just didn't want to name a new coach while Coach O was still there. If that's the case, you fucked up.
Yeah.
But they were one of the first people to fire their coach. And then they sit around and they wait. Florida fired their coach last week. And I was reading, I think it was Bruce Feldman tweeted it out. I was reading that Billy Napier interviewed on Tuesday for the Florida job. And they almost immediately hired him. Like, he did so well that they're like, yep, this is our guy.
Damn.
So in like less than a week span, they're like, we got our guy. We're not going to let LSU come in and take him from us. We're hiring him. And I don't know what his numbers are, what his contract looks like, but I think that's a great hire for them. And again, it's like, LSU, what are you doing?
Like, at this point, who do you hire? Like, is it just Matt Campbell? Is that the only person you can go after, or Luke Fickell?
Yeah, Matt Campbell, Luke Fickell. There's a lot of talk about Mark Stoops, who's at Kentucky.
Is that Bob's son?
Brother.
Brother, okay.
Yep, it's his brother. Matt Campbell, I think, would be a good fit. I know that there's a lot of rumors to him and Washington. Luke Fickell, I think, could be a good fit down there. There's also a lot of buzz about Lane Kiffin, who, if I'm LSU, I would probably take a swing at Lane Kiffin.
Really?
And one of the reasons Coach O was fired was because the Arch Manning stuff. The LSU wanted in on Arch Manning, and they weren't. Lane Kiffin is. And so maybe if you do take a swing at him, I think you could. Obviously, they can pay people.
Yeah.
And if you're Lane Kiffin now and you're like, holy shit, they offered $12 million to Lincoln Riley, yeah, I'll take that. Tell you what, I'll give you a deal. I'll go 10. 10 even, and I'm there.
What's he making out
tomorrow.
at Ole Miss, do you know?
Not that.
12.
Probably not 7, like maybe 6 in that range. I don't know for sure, but that was also a situation where we thought maybe he was using these other jobs.
What would you say, 6?
6 or 7.
4.5. Which is a shit ton of money, but the fact that we're just like, whatever.
LSU literally just has that laying around, though. They were paying Coach O 9.5. So they could even just come in and be like, hey, just take
Go
over.
Tigers was getting $9.5 million.
Yeah, he's the second highest paid coach in college football.
God freaking no.
They were going to offer
what
Lincoln
are we doing?
12.
We need to go with coach.
So I do think that they could obviously take a big swing
Sheesh.
at Lane Kiffin. I would. I think that he could work there. I think that he's kind of matured past some of the USC, Tennessee stuff that he's done in the past. But it's just getting started. It's not even December yet, and we have all this stuff going on. So it's going to be a great time for college football. College football is going to be great, and you can also look great. Now would be a great time to go visit our sponsors at Miners and Monroe. I about said Mid-America RV. You should visit them too. But Miners and Monroe, use code MICEDUP10. Save yourself 10% off. It's great to support those local businesses. I know for most of our listeners, not so much local, but they're still a great small business, locally owned here, and a great dude too. So go support them at minersandmonroe.com. Use code MICEDUP10 and save yourself 10% off.
Yep, next up is going to be Gunspot, gunspot.com. Mello is rocking the T-shirt today. It is a pretty cool one. I'll be honest with you.
I did a little closet clean out.
Look at you.
Over the weekend too, and it's like, oh, there's my Gunspot shirt. I knew it was in there somewhere. That was just a me problem. I found it.
I'm going to have to get mine out this week, too, now that you're wearing it. But again, yes, gunspot.com. Visit that website for all your gun and ammo needs, as well as accessories. No reserved auctions. That is the spot for your guns. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Make sure you're in a position to protect you and your family at any time, and you can do so with gunspot.com.
Yes, and another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is a little more college football. Michigan finally beats Ohio State this weekend. I know you were rooting for Michigan.
You know how you talked about Lincoln Riley, like hearing that news and how good it was? Watching this football game on Saturday, like I had more excitement watching this game than I did any Texas game this year.
Really?
Like even the Texas OU game. Because I just had that gut feeling in that game that Texas was going to fuck it up. Sure enough. I've also learned,
history tells you.
I've learned this year with college football, just trust the gut, bub. Because that's what I've been saying about this Michigan game all year. And I feel like you can back that up. I've been talking about, hey, I think this is the year Michigan can do it.
Now, I do remember you picking Ohio State to win, though.
Because I was like, hey, I want to be smart about this. Because I didn't want to go over the top. Like, I had just watched Ohio State demolish Michigan State.
You're jaded from your Carson Wentz, Lamar Jackson stuff.
100%. And speaking of Carson Wentz,
you're afraid to go all in.
Everyone's like, man, was Big Country right about Carson Wentz and the Colts? Hey, bub, for like a half.
For a half, it looked really good. And then Carson Wentz remembered.
Even our guy, Rob Forrest.
I'm Carson Wentz.
All of a sudden, Rob Forrest sends me a text message too, like, hey, remember when everyone said Carson Wentz wasn't very good? And I was like, how could I forget? And like, I didn't say anything back after that, but I just even thought to myself, I was like, I don't want to respond to this message in case. Literally 5 minutes later, I get a freaking update. Carson Wentz throws an interception. Son of a bitch.
Then I had a fumble as well. I did 2 interceptions.
It was like, come on, Carson.
I don't want to say he lost the game for him, but pretty close.
That defense, how can you just cover Gronk? Damn it.
Yeah.
Like, that's my other thing. Just cover the big fucker in the middle.
But you were high on Michigan.
Yes, let's get back to where my real excitement is.
It was exciting. I loved watching that game. And I didn't really have a dog in the fight. I did pick Ohio State. I was rooting for Ohio State. But what Michigan was able to do and just come out and run the football, just right down their throats.
They legitimately kicked their ass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they bullied them the entire game, it felt like. Just punched them right in the mouth, and Ohio State didn't have any
Final score was 42-27. It's weird because the game felt closer than that, but at the same time, it felt like Michigan was just in control the whole time.
Like, you were almost waiting for Michigan to beat themselves at some point, and they did.
Yes, 0 turnovers.
When I knew that the universe was going to have Michigan win was when the quarterback had thrown the ball out to the running back out in the flat, and he just one-hand snagged it in stride.
That
just
was a
stuck
very
his hand
impressive
out,
catch.
Caught it, and then just kept going. It was like, how in the world? Like, didn't even, turn in his hand. He didn't have to get his other hand. He just caught it, tucked it, and kept going. And, it was right then and there. I think it happened in the third quarter. I was like, Michigan's winning this football game.
For me, it was I turned it on a little bit early, and I turned it on to Fox for the big noon kickoff, and I started seeing it snowing. I was like, oh, I'm going to get my snow game.
Yep.
Here it is. And then I also thought, Ohio State's in trouble. A lot of what they do is through the passing game. Even with a guy like Trayvon Henderson, I still don't think that he's 100% healthy, and they just could not get the running game going at all.
Yeah.
And then also, hats off to that pass rush of Michigan. We talked about it a little bit last week. I knew that Aiden Hutchinson was going to be very good. I knew that they had the other pass rusher too, 55. I don't know how to say his name. I knew they were going to be good, but holy hell, I didn't know they were going to be that good.
They were all over C.J. Stroud. In a lot of his passes, and I don't know if it just directly related to the pass rush or just because it was cold or maybe just a mixture of both, but a lot of his passes were just so off target. They were low, they were too high, they were too far out, and luckily not all of them turned into turnovers, but it was at the same time, it just waste of downs.
And I haven't gone back through to scout that game. I watched it kind of as a fan, but at the same time, Aiden Hutchinson, it was hard not to watch him. And he comes away with 3 sacks on the day. He's the new single-season Michigan sack record
13
holder,
and a half,
which is phenomenal. But people that did go back through and track this game is the people at PFF. And again, I don't know how some of their equations work, but I did see the tweet that they tallied up 19 quarterback pressures in one game.
That's insane.
The fact that he
and how many plays they run? 50?
Yeah, I mean, he was just all over the place all the time. And I tweeted it out, and I'm not even kidding. He should be a Heisman contender. Should he be number one? Maybe, maybe not. But the weekend that he had definitely should put him in the conversation for it. That is a Heisman moment. You have 3 sacks against your arch rival. You haven't beaten them since 2011. And then you come through and you do that. He really hats off to him. He was our player of the day as well. But he had a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
And what was a great weekend. A couple weeks ago, Matt and I did a mock draft for the Draft Scout. I had the first overall pick, and I did Kayvon Thibodeau to probably the Lions, I guess.
Matt Drescher out of Oregon.
Matt did the number 2 overall pick, and he had Aiden Hutchinson going number 2. There were some comments of people being like, Hutchinson number 2, get out of here, this is bullshit. How do you feel about that now? How do you feel about the fact that you pressed send on that tweet? Because, and I even saw it again this weekend, or maybe it was early this morning, people saying there needs to be a discussion between who the number 1 prospect in this draft class really is. Because it might be Aiden Hutchinson. He's so fucking big.
And he's strong as hell. He might not be the fastest guy on the field, but he's going to bully his way to the quarterback every time. He's got just enough speed to get there. Who's your player comp for him?
I don't have one yet. And, we were talking about it, the 3 of us with Matt, trying to figure out, okay, who is the player comp? And I agree. I hate to do it, just because he's white, you'll be like, he's this player. He's going to be a Bosa, Crosby, whoever it is. But it also, It kind of feels right.
It does, yeah.
You had a good one, though. I liked your player comp for him.
Yeah, Jared Allen.
Yeah. And I think what makes Aiden Hutchinson different is it, even for me, it's like maybe a little bit of a TJ Watt. The size is not even comparable.
Yeah. Like,
TJ Watt is like 6'4", 250, which is a big guy.
This dude's 6'6".
265.
And I mean, that's a massive human being coming off the edge again and again. And the reason I said Jared Allen is because I remember watching Jared Allen play for the Chiefs before he went to the Vikings. And even when he was in Minnesota, it was one of those deals where you look at this guy and I was like, how in the world is he good? Like, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
What is he doing that's so special?
Exactly. And you can almost say
a
the
little
same
bit of
thing
everything
about Max Crosby. And it's just like, damn. But
Yeah.
whatever it is, it's working. And he's got a heck of a package that you can put together. And if you're a passer,
Heck of a package.
heck of a package. 6'6", you got to.
So you've body typed him already. That's the first step in scouting
I do
for
a
a lot of people.
full scouting, yeah. Full scouting
Yeah,
report.
it's amazing. I don't know, and I hate to do the white to white thing because it just feels lazy. But at the same time, he does kind of feel like an in shape J.J. Watt. Yeah. Because the size
Like
that is
college?
there. Yeah, no, post college. J.J. Watt was chubby at Wisconsin,
Oh,
and then
okay, I
got
see
to the
what you're
NFL and got in very good shape.
Perfect, gotcha.
It feels like that kind of J.J. Watt. So
Yep.
not the prospect that we saw coming out, but like what we saw from J.J. Watt. He's so good all over the field. I honestly, I don't know how to player comp him because he's so big, he's so fast, so strong, and he's very good with his hands too. It's not just like, hey, I'm a better athlete than you. I'm going to get around you. He knows how to use his hands and beat offensive linemen. Another thing we were watching for was the Ohio State offensive line is very good. Their left tackle is a first-round draft prospect.
Dude got put on his ass.
Yeah.
I remember watching that play. It didn't even see where the ball went because it was a holy shit. That's a large human being getting flown through the air. It was like, I don't even know what the cartoon
That's
is,
probably
but
a
when they do this
320
shit on
pound
the cartoon where they're like that, and that guy just, that's exactly what he looked like.
Our podcast listeners are going to love the sound effects on that one.
I'll clip it out for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
No,
What
I
is
don't know
that
what you're talking
freaking
about.
cartoon? They got like the weird spiky hair,
Is it? Yeah, I know what it is.
and they're like,
What's that? I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not
Anywho,
into that stuff.
but another player for
get
Michigan who
it.
had a hell of a week or hell of a game, Hassan Haskins.
Yeah, the running back rushes for 5 touchdowns in this game. I saw that the Senior Bowl named Aiden Hutchinson their defensive player of the week and Haskins their offensive player of the week. It's hard not to. Again, he rushed for 169 yards and 5 touchdowns against Ohio State.
I kind of wish they would have just let him go score again. Like, just found a way of like, hey, we're just going to chuck the ball down here. We already got this game sealed. If you catch it, just step out at the 1. He's going to go break the school record against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be amazing because I think the school record was 5 touchdowns in a game for
And
Michigan.
he tied it?
Mm-hmm. So it was like, if you can get 6 against Ohio State and your first win for Coach Harbaugh in, 5-6 years?
Oh, yeah. It was also really cool to see guys like Desmond Howard was there, obviously, for ESPN. Charles Woodson was there for Fox. Like, for them to be a part of it and see how much it still means to them.
Oh, yeah.
Also, like, what is Ohio State doing that they're not producing guys that can do media? Because like Desmond Howard and Charles Woodson are great.
They
They're
got
Michigan
Herb
guys.
Street. God dang it.
You even said it right this time.
I did, and I thought I said it wrong.
Yeah, Herbie is great. But he's so good about not being biased. Like, he's almost afraid to mention Ohio State.
Yeah, because I feel like every time he does, he gets roasted for it.
Every time he does. It's like, the announcers that people will be like, oh, no, Joe Buck hates our team. No, it's just sometimes your team sucks, and they've got to be critical. And with Herb Street, it's the complete opposite. Anytime he even, starts to say Ohio State, people will just ride him and be like, oh, you're such a homer. Like, he wasn't even that good at Ohio State.
He really wasn't.
Come on. And let him be passionate about, his team. I mean, it was a great college football weekend.
I love how we compliment Herbie, and then right at the end, we're like, "You actually sucked at quarterback, but you're great in the booth."
He's my favorite college football personality.
Yeah. Anytime he's one of those people where I see him go live on Instagram, it's like I'm there.
Yeah.
And I don't think he does it all the time, but he did several times last year during COVID. And I was like, "Yep, I'm there. I'm listening."
And even for him to do a Saturday morning for college game day, be there, probably watch some of the Michigan-Ohio State game, and then fly out to Oklahoma and do the Oklahoma State game, which was another fantastic game, even outside of all the Lincoln Riley stuff. Oklahoma keeps itself alive in the college football playoff. I wrote about that one this morning in the state of college football as well. There's just so much left to the season. Like, we're getting here. It's championship week. There's still so much open that a team like Oklahoma State, I think, could definitely find their way into the college football playoff. And the crazy thing is, it might be Alabama that's left on the outside. And after another poor performance against Auburn, I don't know if they deserve it anymore.
I mean, it was close, and they got they got super lucky in winning that game.
So I've talked to you guys about it before, listeners and yourself. My daughters are kind of Alabama fans. They like watching College Game Day, and so they get a lot. Like, they probably love Kirk Herbstreit too. But the Alabama game was on, and they're like, "Do you have to watch this one for work?" Yeah, I do. I do have to watch this one for work. So we're going to. And they're watching the game, and they say, like, "Can we watch, like, a movie after this game's over?" And I'm like, after this game, yeah, like, I'll watch the Oklahoma State game on my iPad. It's not a big deal. I'll let them watch it on the big TV. So they are watching this game, most of it, actually. And they take a little break, and they come back in, and like, is it almost over? And I'm like, yeah, there's like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And they're like, oh, 7 minutes? That's fine. They both sit on the couch like they're getting ready to watch their movie. Like, this is almost done.
Oh, honey, you got an hour.
And then they realize how long 7 minutes in a game actually takes. And then this motherfucker goes to overtime, and they're like, when will someone win? And I'm like, well, if Auburn scores here and Alabama doesn't, Auburn wins, game's over. And they're both like, I don't even care anymore if Alabama wins. Like, let's just end this thing.
Yeah.
But then at the end, Alabama wins it. And I hear my youngest daughter, who is now checked out, she's like doing arts and crafts on her own. And she's like, did we win? I'm like, we? You're going that
Are
far
you
now?
French? We. What are you talking about?
Did we win? You weren't even in here watching the game. But Alabama does win. And it looks like I'm raising two Alabama fans. But, I mean, for Bryce Young, I don't know. I didn't think he played that great. C.J. Stroud didn't play that great. So I don't know if you can put either one of those guys in the Heisman category. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I know votes, you can vote starting, like, right now. And you have until Monday to get your vote in if you're one of the guys voting for it. Hopefully, people wait until after this weekend. I feel like there's still so much left to do with the Heisman that you have so many good guys still playing that you have to wait until after Saturday.
And, like, that's the thing with this year. It doesn't feel like anyone solidified that spot. Like, in the years past, it's like, okay, these are the guys. Focus on them week in and week out. This year is just like, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, like anyone's just stepped up.
This weekend, I thought, okay, I'll watch C.J. Stroud. He's got a very good chance to do it, to win the Heisman. He didn't play that well, and his team lost. Like, he played okay. I don't know that you can really blame him for the loss.
Yeah.
But his team lost, so, like, that's going to take him out of the running. Bryce Young, he played pretty bad for most of that game. He came back. He had a good overtime. He had a pretty good fourth quarter. But he still didn't really have that, like, oh, my gosh, there's a Heisman moment that we needed from him.
Look what Bryce did.
And that's why I heard some other guys talking about it this morning, too. I put it out there Saturday night. I think the three Heisman finalists should be Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, who had a phenomenal weekend and a great season as well. Yeah. Will Anderson from Alabama. He's the best player on that team.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, great. He plays quarterback. Will Anderson's the best player on that team. And then Jordan Davis from Georgia. Like, give it to somebody from that defense, because that is a historically great
That's all defensive players that you mentioned.
All three. Fuck the offense. None of them deserve to be there. And you know what? Like, guys like C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, yeah, it's cool. They're great. Let them battle it out next year.
Yeah.
They'll be back. They will be fine. This year, I think we need three defensive players. One of them gets it. No offensive player deserves it, so give it to the defense. All right, let's get to something different. It is a Monday. A lot of people like to talk about the NFL. But first, let's mention our great local sponsors. Club 609, the best bar in Joplin, Missouri. That might not sound like much. I know. I live here. But it is. It's the best bar in the world. Go check them out. They're happy hour from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. 2-for-1 drink specials, $2 draft pours. Very good chance that if I don't have anything going on, that's where I'm at.
Oh, I mean, I'm right there behind you, honestly. The other thing, though, that we need to mention is Downtown Lube be sure to visit them at downtownlube.com for their full list of services. They do specialize in tires and lube, but they are much more than that, and I can say that confidently because, well,
your car is currently there.
It is, and it's getting worked on. I just got a message right when we started recording. Hey, your car's ready to go. And I was like, I just dropped it off 20 minutes ago. Thank you guys for the quick fix, in and out. They pride themselves on doing so. Great customer service. They know you by name. Once you go in, it's hard to want to go anywhere else because that's how good they take care of you. Again, this is Downtown Lube here in Joplin, Missouri, off 1st and Main. Be sure to visit them at downtownlube.com for their full list of services.
Yeah, and again, it's great to support those locally owned places. Obviously, if you don't live here in Joplin, it's probably hard for you to do that. I say still go do that in your area.
Yeah.
Like going to those national chain franchises. It doesn't feel right when there's a local place that you can take your vehicle or go get your food or whatever needs to be done. So definitely check them out, Downtown Lube, if you're in the Joplin area. But let's get to some NFL football. I think, maybe I'm wrong here, I think this was an incredibly boring NFL weekend.
I'm so glad you said it because I was about to, but I didn't want it to come off as like, well, the Chiefs didn't play, so of course you thought it was boring.
But there were only two teams on bye. It was the Chiefs and the Cardinals.
Yep.
And maybe the fact that games were spread out and we had 3 on Thursday, but trying to watch and even keep track of what was going on an NFL Sunday, it felt so boring.
It did.
And even the news of Billy Napier getting hired at Florida, I immediately pounced on that and was like, oh, I'm interested here. And then when Lincoln Riley, the news got announced, I don't know if anybody was really watching the games or if it was just, man, I am tuned into Twitter. I am checking this
Yeah.
out. But I mean, for me, I'm very biased here. I think this goes to show, again, a weekend like this in college football, the NFL can't even come close to that. Yeah, I mean, the crazy games, even looking at Michigan and Ohio State, it wasn't even particularly close. But it was still the highlight of the weekend until Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
And Alabama and Auburn, it was very close. The NFL could never duplicate that. Maybe in a Super Bowl. But the passion that people feel for these college games. I mean, even when you get into NFL locker rooms, you still get guys that are like, all right, you went to Michigan, I went to Ohio State. Let's make a bet on it.
Yeah.
It's never like, oh, man, you're a Chiefs fan, I'm a Raiders fan. We're very passionate about this. You can't duplicate
Well,
what
the
college
people that
football
you
does.
do get that are passionate about NFL are just kind of a bunch of weirdos.
They really. Yeah.
If they and I know we know a lot of people that are huge Chiefs fans, but there's a difference in your fandom between other people. And if you're listening to this and you feel like you're in that category of I'm a super fan of an NFL team, think of the super fan that you have of your NFL team, and you just go, yeah, they're kind of weird. It's a little different.
A little too much.
But college football, I feel like there's just so much tradition with it that it's not weird. It's everyone's just united with it. And it's what makes it so special.
For the most part, the player that you love in college football is always going to be tied to that team.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Colt McCoy. Love him and always will. He's forever a Texas Longhorn.
Yeah. In the NFL?
In the NFL, you can like this guy for a little bit, and then boom, he goes to a different team.
But I
So
mean,
it's
that's the
ah,
thing.
shit.
He's Colt McCoy in the NFL is a Cleveland Brown. He's a New York Giant. He's an Arizona Cardinal.
Right.
And wherever
And
else
he
freaking
hasn't
went.
been that good, but I mean, I think you get the point.
Yeah.
And, most of these guys, too, even if you are pretty good, still a really good chance that you leave in free agency.
And I got to say
like
something.
Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
I mean, Giants fans thought they had the next Jerry Rice. And then guess what? Then he goes to Cleveland. And then Cleveland's like, oh, fuck yeah, we got Odell Beckham. Guess what? No. Now he's going to L.A. for a year.
And he's not
Rams
doing
don't get
shit.
excited because he's going to be a free agent. So, what fan base is oh, yeah, Odell Beckham, we love him. Maybe the Giants still, but, have fun rooting for him on a different team.
Yeah.
I just love college football.
And-
I always have.
And it's taken me a little bit to get on that. I don't even want to say bandwagon, but just kind of on board with all of it because I feel like there was so much in college football, and a big part of it was all the different traditions that are a part of each school, conference, matchups that I just didn't know. But now that I've been in this world for 4 years now, fully developed around college football with you and Matt, it's I get all of it now,
And
it is so much fun to see a whiteout at Penn State or a game against Michigan and Ohio State and be fully invested in it. You know what I mean? From the beginning of the year, and more than just a Texas OU. All these other big matchups across the world of college football, it's so much fun to fully understand the capacity and weight that they hold throughout the year for these teams, in their fan bases and the universities, everything that.
One thing I also love is the fact that, when these teams are playing.
Yes.
Like, you know that Michigan, Ohio State is the day after Thanksgiving or that weekend.
Yep.
In the NFL, like, you have to wait for that schedule release, and, like, maybe that's exciting, but it's like, okay, when do the Chiefs and Raiders play? Oh, shit, at the end of the year.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to have to wait all season long. Like, for me, I already know when Texas and OU are going to play next year. I don't have the date memorized, but I can tell you right there in October.
Yeah.
You know? Or I can plan accordingly. I think it makes it very exciting, and the rivalries are so much better in college sports than any pro sport. And I think last night goes to show that too. When you had the Browns and Ravens playing each other, that was a dog shit football game. Both quarterbacks played terrible. Baker Mayfield, we were talking about paying him and like how much do you pay him? And then last week he has a bad game and I'm like, you don't pay him, you don't franchise tag him. I think that most people are probably coming around on that.
It felt like it solidified everyone being on the same page last night.
Yeah, I mean, it was another very bad performance. The Ravens looked like, I think they're sitting atop the AFC, if I'm not mistaken, in the standings. They don't look like a team that can win the Super Bowl. They're very beat up. They continue to win these games, and I guess that's what you need to do. But they don't even look very good.
No.
I'm not confident in what I'm seeing out of them. And I've been a supporter of the Ravens pretty much all season. But last night was a very bad game. Lamar Jackson throws 4 interceptions. He really doesn't get much going on the ground either. It was bad all around for Sunday Night Football.
And the thing with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens is a lot of those plays they just got lucky on. I mean, like Mark Andrews, that
downfield
like
catch.
Spit everywhere. Like, that's the guy you got to thank for this win.
Yeah,
because you mentioned the downfield catch. He had multiple of those, and then it was the touchdown grab as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's not for him, there's no way you're in this football game. But the same thing to Cleveland, like, they just couldn't take over. They couldn't get anything figured out with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb at both playing this game.
Yeah, both of them back, and
nothing was going. Mm-hmm. And when you look at Baker, I get you're injured. You're dealing with that heel injury. Your left shoulder's beat up. He got hit several times last night as well. But, man, even in play calling, you can't get anything else going to help this guy get the ball out of his hand quicker.
Right. Yeah. And another game that really got out of hand. Panthers fans very excited to have Cam Newton back. He's back on the bench. Absolutely terrible performance. And I don't even think you can look at it and be like, well, he played a really good team. Nope, you played the Dolphins. And maybe that defense is good. They had a good day. Tua looked pretty good. This game did surprise me a lot, but it looked very, very bad for Cam Newton. It didn't look much better when P.J. Walker came in either, but it was bad at the quarterback position. Cam Newton goes 5 of 21, 2 interceptions. I
didn't realize his stats were this bad.
Atrocious against a not good Dolphins team. Mm-hmm. I think this just goes to show the Panthers desperately need a new quarterback. Luckily for them, guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, those are your pro options. And maybe you can get one of those guys to come to Carolina and it looks a little bit better. I do think at some point we have to start looking at Matt Rule and Joe Brady. Like, hey, you're supposed to be like this wonder duo. Do something, get something
I bet they're
going.
sitting there like, hey, we're calling the right plays. They just can't execute them.
And that could be the case. But at the same
sucks.
time, there are 4 quarterbacks that I've seen now. Teddy Bridgewater, Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, P.J. Walker.
Yeah, that's a good point.
None of them have looked good.
That's a good point.
So at some point, you do have to look at it. And those quarterbacks, maybe they're not great. But at some point, I do think that we have to start putting a little bit of blame on those coaches because it hasn't looked good in Carolina, and it doesn't really look great for the NFL draft for them either. So I don't know what you do if you're the Carolina Panthers. I would try to attack some of those quarterbacks, but I don't think that Russell Wilson put them on his short list. Deshaun Watson has pretty much came out and just said, I'm going to Miami. And with Aaron Rodgers, it's such an unknown. You try to get him, but it sounds like he wants to be on the West Coast. The Packers probably don't want to trade him to an NFC team. So I don't know what the Panthers do. The draft is not going to be great either. Maybe you bring in a guy like Baker Mayfield for a year. That's a terrible plan. I hope they don't have to do that, but I don't know. I don't know what you do in Carolina. Christian McCaffrey doesn't look great. I don't know if that guy's ever going to be healthy.
Not after he's been paid. I mean, sorry, but dude got payday. And it's not that he's not going to play anymore. It's I'm not going to risk being hurt and not getting to play for as many years as possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to collect those dollars.
Yeah.
And another guy that did have a great game in this game was Jalen Waddle. I know a lot of people, myself included, looked at that wide receiver position and like, don't take a wide receiver so high. And for the Dolphins, I did give a little bit of an exception because I thought they were going to be very good. But Jalen Waddle has another fantastic day. 9 catches, 137 yards, and 1 touchdown against a Panthers defense that was supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, I thought they were pretty good coming into this game. Maybe we have to change our minds on that one. And then another game where we might have to change our minds, you started to talk about it earlier, is this Tampa Bay Buccaneers Indianapolis Colts game. I was looking at it. I wasn't watching it live, but I was monitoring it. I was watching Red Zone, and I did think, like, oh, my God. The Colts, not only are they winning, I saw the score, and then I went and I checked the box score. I thought Jonathan Taylor probably had 200 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
I was very surprised when I saw that it was a Carson Wentz-led lead. And then it all went to shit, and we did get old Carson Wentz back again. Yeah, you can't turn the ball over against Tom Brady, or he will get you. We saw it even with the Cowboys in the first game of the season. If you give Tom Brady the ball back, he's probably going to beat you. And that's what happens as Tampa Bay scored 24 points in the second half to win this game.
Yeah, it's annoying because the thing with Carson Wentz is one of his interceptions that he had early in the third quarter, which is one of those deep balls where I think it just wasn't well placed for Michael Pittman. And then his last one, I believe, was to end the game. We tried to throw a touchdown pass again to Michael Pittman to end it there with no time left on the clock. So that gets intercepted. So you see 2 interceptions and you're like, great, he pissed this game away. Yeah, there were some throws that just didn't look good, but at the same time, I hate to be this guy. Tom Brady gets bailed out every fucking year somehow. Like almost every week as well. Just the stupidest calls that are made for his receivers that it's like pass interference, and they go from like 3rd and 17 to 1st and 10 on the 15-yard line. And it's like, how? Like, it's annoying at this point to just watch it and go, dude, come on.
Yeah, I think the same could be said with every team.
For sure, but like it's respect to Tom Brady, but at the same time, you watch games like this, and they're getting bailed out in certain situations, and it's frustrating to see. But then it's like, well, I can sit here and complain about this. What about Leonard Fournette running all over the defense?
Yeah.
How are we going to complain about
Gate.
that?
It's like, they cheated. They deflated the balls. Yeah, but it really didn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, look at the score.
This.
Exactly. So it's like I can sit here and complain and bitch about it all I want, but at the same time, like I said, Leonard Fournette goes off. Defense couldn't stop the run. 4
touchdowns total?
Yeah, and he sealed the game with I think a 20-some yard run for a touchdown as well. Hit the hole. Yeah. Nobody wanted to tackle him. Left. Business decisions were made. It was like, okay, well, that's it.
Yeah, it was a rough day for the Colts and the Buccaneers. They do get another win. They're sitting at 8-3. They look very good in the NFC. I think they needed that win too. They needed it. Yeah. But to come back in the way they did, I think that gives them a lot of confidence going for the rest of the season.
Gets them back on track.
Yeah, it really does. And then another team. How about Tom Brady's old team? The Patriots look so good right now. And I did not think they were going to look this good. I did predict Mac Jones would win the Rookie of the Year.
You did?
I think that is just a no-brainer right now.
Lock it up.
I mean, he's got to. But they beat the Titans. They beat the brakes off the Titans, 36-13. And I think you can look at this and be like, oh, well, Derrick Henry didn't play. They still had 270 yards rushing for the Titans and still lost. I don't know. Ryan Tannehill has not looked good. I think we both wondered how he would look with Derrick Henry out. It hasn't been good. And even Sunday with a rushing game from their 2 running backs that they have, Hilliard and Foreman, they just couldn't get anything going with Ryan Tannehill. He looked very bad. I think a lot of that has to do with Bill Belichick. I think a lot of people last year kind of questioned him and thought, okay, this is all Tom Brady. And now I think we're remembering, it's a little bit of both. Belichick, very good coach. Brady, very good quarterback. And now it looks like, a guy like Josh McDaniels has his quarterback and Mac Jones.
Yeah.
It's not sexy, but it's going to get the job done. And they've won 6 straight now.
Yeah. And everyone's going to, I know a lot of people are asking the question, is New England the best team in the AFC? Holy smokes, look at this. Yeah, they have these amount of wins, but here's my thing. I kind of have a little bit of thoughts to it, so just give me a second. The teams that they have played have not been very good. You demolished the Jets. You played a beat-up Los Angeles team. You picked up a win there. good. You beat Carolina. We know they're not good. You beat Cleveland. They're completely damaged. We know they're not good right now either. You demolished Atlanta. We know they're not good. And Tennessee, you played them. You mentioned the running yards that they have, but they also have no receiving weapons as A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are both on the IR. So it's like we can look at this and go, man, like these are all easy wins. We can't blame, though, at the same time, we can't blame the Patriots for beating the teams that are on their schedule.
Yeah.
So, yes, they are playing really good right now. Things are clicking, but we're really going to see who they are these next 3 weeks, where they play at Buffalo.
On Monday Night Football.
On Monday night. And then they go to Indianapolis, which we've seen them just piss away games. So we'll see how that matchup is. And then they get Buffalo at home. So as well as the month of the end of October and the month of November was for New England, December could be a month of like, all right, show us who you really are.
Yeah.
And they get a bye week included in this.
They win.
Yeah.
I do think that game at Buffalo, Monday Night Football, I hope again, I'm hoping for snow. December in Buffalo, I feel like that should be pretty safe, but I am. But it's impressive what they're doing. 6 straight wins against anybody in the NFL is good. You mentioned one of those teams being the Chargers. And that is a team that I do want to look at and think, man, like I don't know what's happening with them. I didn't watch their game yesterday, but it didn't look good. And the wheels are really just falling off. I mean, the Chargers looked like they were one of the best teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
They did look like the best team in the AFC West there for a little bit. I mean, they had a run where they beat the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Browns. And I don't know about you, but for me, it was like, oh, my God, they're legit this year. And then since then, they've been very bad. And they lose again to the Broncos. They should have beat the Broncos. I don't care if that game's in Denver or not. They should have beat the Broncos. They didn't. And Justin Herbert, not to keep ragging on him, but he has not looked good. People were comparing or asking the question at least of like Justin Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
After his rookie season. And now he comes out, he throws 2 more interceptions. He was okay throwing the ball, but again, you're losing these games. He throws a pick 6 to Patrick Surtain. It hasn't looked good for the Chargers. It hasn't looked good for Justin Herbert.
No, I mean, I don't know who you blame. I mean, really, because they're not targeting Mike Williams anymore.
Yeah, and usually you can, if a quarterback or a team is struggling, you can point to the offensive line. I feel like the offensive line is still playing pretty well. Maybe not to like an elite level, but like, sorry, you can't have everything perfect for you.
Yeah.
Not many teams do have elite offensive linemen. They've got good enough running game. Austin Eckler, like he's a good running back, but I also think he does so much out of the backfield that he's a good weapon. Then you have Keenan Allen, you have Mike Williams. So like I don't know where you can point and blame like who on this Chargers team because you're not scoring points. 13 points against Denver is just. It's not going to get it done for you.
And like at the same time now is who the heck is Denver? Because you demolished Dallas and then you pick up a win here against the Chargers. I don't know who they are either now.
Yeah. This is such a wild year in the NFL. College football too. Like really just football's drunk this season. Usually, we got 2 days left in November. Usually who the good teams are.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, here's maybe 4 or 5 teams, they're Super Bowl contenders. The rest, like, we'll wait and see. I don't know now because, I felt very good about the Rams not too long ago.
Yep.
Now, I don't know. They kind of got their ass kicked by the Packers this weekend. So even looking at them and the Packers, it's like, okay, maybe the Packers are good. Maybe they are.
And this is
maybe they aren't.
A Packers team that's being led by Aaron Rodgers, who has a messed up toe, a fractured toe. He showed all of us. It's now his profile picture.
God, I hate him so much.
Freaking hilarious. I loved it.
Do you like him?
I thought it was funny. I'll be honest, yeah. I like Aaron Rodgers.
I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I know that he's a good quarterback. So
I just don't want it to turn into us being like, I like him, you don't like him, F you. This might be our first disagreement our friendship's really had.
You think so?
We're going to see how well this tests the waters.
Carson Wentz definitely was way before that. I don't like Carson Wentz.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I think he's probably a good person, but I don't think he's a good quarterback.
All right, I definitely overlooked that one.
I do like
Well, maybe I overlooked it because I kind of started to realize Carson Wentz isn't that good.
yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Were you able to hear that?
I was.
Okay, good.
Lamar Jackson was another one.
I've come around on that. I feel turned
Even
on.
after like the game that he had, I think that he's just so dynamic with his legs that he doesn't have to be the elite level passer of like an Aaron Rodgers. Or
I
Matt
did say
Stafford.
earlier if it wasn't for Mark Andrews, they don't win this game. I mean, you would have to give credit to Lamar Jackson.
I mean, he is good, but yeah, he threw 4 interceptions yesterday. So I agree with you on that one, actually. And Mark Andrews, he won that game for him. But with Aaron Rodgers, it's not even so much about him on the field. If I just watch him play, I do like him.
Yeah.
It's the interviews that I cannot stand. Even when he is like being real and he's supposed to be like relatable, I still can't stand the way he talks. I understand why his family doesn't like him. Like, I would stop inviting
talking
him to
to
stuff
us like
too.
we're dumb.
Yeah, like,
I'm
just
your mom.
shut the fuck up. We get it. You make a lot of money, but like, you were supposed to bring the mac and cheese and you didn't. So that's what's important to us.
We don't want to listen to you play your guitar. We wanted mac and cheese.
Please stop doing that. But I do. I like him on the field. I think he's a very good quarterback. And even when like they get the ball late, it's like, okay, well, he's probably going to go score for them.
Yeah.
I really like Devontae Adams. I just do not care.
Speaking
for
of
him.
which, did you see his comments on Odell?
Uh-uh.
So Odell wanted to do a jersey swap with him after the
With
game.
Devontae Adams?
With Devontae Adams. Odell was like, hey, let me get that jersey. And Devontae was like, why don't you go get Cooper Kupp since that's who you wanted to play with?
Did he say it to Odell?
I believe that's the way he made it sound.
I did not see
he
that
said
one
it to the media.
at all.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
If that is a very like true, genuine story, props to you, Devontae Adams.
Especially if you did it to his face.
Like right after the game, because I guess Odell was like, yo, let me get that jersey.
Uh-huh. And Odell he had 5 catches and a touchdown yesterday. But the Rams team, it feels different. I know Matt Stafford, big shocker here, he's hurt.
And he doesn't look good the last couple weeks.
He really
He's
hasn't.
missing everybody.
I've lost 2 weeks in a row in fantasy football. I'm blaming Matt Stafford. I was riding high with this dude for a while, and I think I saw earlier this morning he's not even in the MVP discussion anymore. He dropped out of the top 5.
Well, he's thrown like 3 pick sixes in a row.
Yeah,
Or
throws it.
Last 3 weeks, excuse me.
Yeah, so the Rams really need a reset. It's funny how quickly we overreact to everything. My fault too. But
it's hard not to, though, when you're in the moment of like, this is panic time.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at the Rams and you're like, oh my God, this is one of the best teams I've ever seen. And then they, drop a couple games. Now they've dropped 3 in a row. 2 good teams, the Titans, 49ers, and Packers. They get a nice little reset. They take on the Jaguars next week.
Can we call those good teams, though? Did the 49ers win this weekend?
They did. They beat the Vikings, though.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, who can we call a good team, though? There are not many. I would call the Rams
I'm not
good.
calling the 49ers a good team. I tell you that.
I'm not either. The Cowboys, I thought they were good. They lost on Thursday to the Raiders.
They've lost to every team in the AFC West except for the Chargers.
And that's why it's so hard to be like, okay, the Patriots, like, are they good? I don't know. They beat a lot of bad teams, but they're winning games. The Ravens, are they good? I don't know. They played like shit, but they won. So I don't know.
I mean, even Buffalo. It's like, they lost to Tennessee. They lost to Jacksonville.
Kansas City Chiefs even. Like, are they good? They've been playing really good.
They play Denver Sunday night next week. Come on.
They're even guilty of the, like, well, we really haven't beat anybody. Because even when you look at it, I think you mentioned it before, too. It's like, oh, you beat the Packers. Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing. Yeah. You beat the fucking Giants. No one cares.
You barely beat the Giants. You beat the Cowboys without Amari Cooper, without CeeDee Lamb for a half, and a banged-up Ezekiel Elliott.
Right.
Lucky.
So there are 0 teams in the NFL right now that are like have everything going.
But that is also the beauty of the NFL is we literally have no freaking idea who's going to be in the Super Bowl.
And it's usually not like this, but it is. Yeah. It's great because this whole month of December is going to be fantastic for the NFL. College football coming to an end. That kind of hit me over the weekend. It's like, oh my God, it's almost over. That is a very sad time of year for me. But the NFL will pick up, and then we'll dive in after Christmas. More NBA talk. Major League Baseball free agency is really starting to take off, and a lot of people signed last night. I kind of felt bad for Jeff Passan. He was trying to tweet out like all these deals, and I have his tweet notifications on. But at the same time, I'm like, shut the fuck up, Jeff. Like, I don't care right now. I'm trying to figure out what's going on at USC, man.
Lincoln has left.
I almost turned his notifications off. And then Sham's trying to tweet, and it's like, oh, Boogie Cousins signed with the Bucs. I mean, I really don't give a fuck about that at all.
Yeah.
I'd rather hear about the baseball signings. But seriously, 2 of you, shut up for a second. I just want to see what Bruce Feldman and Adam Schefter have to say. Another one that I think we should mention before we end the show is the Adam Schefter tweet that Oklahoma, at the same time, you kind of just got to know when, like, people know, man,
like
that this is coming from an agent.
Yeah. When not to tweet something.
Yeah. I think that it sucks because he does a very good job of breaking news, but at the same time, it's like, this is a bullshit report. Like, don't push send on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody bought it for a second. It would be fantastic. I was tweeting a little bit about it. I would love that hire because Cliff Kingsbury was very bad in college. Did not have a 500 record. And had Patrick Mahomes, still couldn't find a way to win games. So, yeah, bring him to Norman. But that was clearly, very clearly an agent saying, like, hey, trying to get my guy a deal. Tweet out that OU is interested.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that they can use some of those college jobs with Cliff Kingsbury. But the Arizona Cardinals are 9-2. They might be the only team that is actually like, yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
Kingsbury's not leaving.
Like, even if you're Arizona, listen, I'd be like, that's stupid. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be mad at Cliff. Like, you let your agent fucking post that shit?
Yeah. Or, if I'm the GM or whoever's doing the negotiations, I'm maybe sending a text to the agent and be like, hey, that was bullshit.
Yeah.
We're not falling for that one. So we're going to start over with the negotiations that we have. He's not going anywhere. This is the best football team he's ever had. I don't know how well he did in high school. He went to school in Texas, I assume. But his playing days at Texas Tech, his coaching days, this is the best team he's ever been part of. Don't screw that up.
Yeah.
You just keep sitting in your fancy house, watching your big TV, enjoying your bye week. You're not leaving Arizona, especially for Oklahoma. I'm sorry. But that is it for us today. We will be back tomorrow. Don't forget about our great sponsor to end the show, though, Roper Kia. A great time to get yourself in a new vehicle. I know my mom was vehicle shopping this weekend. I need to tell her to use that code. Mention us at Mic'd Up. They'll give you $1,000 off your nicer, newer ride. Big Country and I will be back tomorrow with a very boring, nothing going on day.